Now listen, my friends, I want to talk to you. I need you to give me your time. I'm going to need about 17 minutes of your time, and after that, I promise not to inflict myself upon you anymore. I'm not going to ask you for money. That's not what I want. What I want is your time, and what I want is your attention. My friends, there is mega fraud going on here in New York City by the Mellon Bank and by the city of New York against the Bethelite Community Baptist Church. Now, that's a church that was started many years ago by Pastor Stanley. I took the leadership of it. Out of it came the evangelism ministry of ATLAH. What is going on at present? We were in court today, and they have used every trick in the book to keep us from prevailing. At first, it was just about covering up the fraud, but now it's about destroying the vision and the prophecy of ATLAH and destroying the last church in Harlem and probably the last righteous church in New York City. I want to read to you a letter that I received from the City of New York Department of Finance going back several months ago in the year 2022. The reason why I requested this letter from the Department of Finance is because I realized that there was if you will, a discrepancy between what our lawyers and what the Mellon Bank and the trust company had filed in court as $36,000 from a water and sewer charge. Myself, Esther Bennett, Elder LaFleur went out to the Department of Finance out on 94th Street in Regal Park, New York. We sat down with the people there, and they pulled up the records from 2002. And the records in 2002 from the Department of Environmental Protection said that the water and sewer charges lien that was sold against us was $36,000. That was a report. That's still a report. You can go out there, they'll tell you the exact same thing. But we noticed when the trust company and the law firm sued us, they sued us for $100,000. Now I'm going to show you how they have committed fraud, and I want you to pray with me. I want you to know that God has allowed this battle to happen so that you and I can glorify him. Mr. Engineer, would you put up on the screen the letter from the New York City Department of Finances? And it says that, "Dear Sir, Madam, this letter is in response to your recent inquiry to our offices about a sole lien on your property tax bill account for the above referenced property. Our records indicate that the lien was sold on May 13, 2002 in the amount of $59,048.07. Unfortunately, once it is sold, we no longer handle any further dealings with the lien. The lien servicing company that this lien was sold to is listed below. Please contact them with any further information." And it gives the information about the lien servicing company, and it's signed by Vanetta James, who is a officer in the New York City Department of Finance. Now, here's the issue. Here's the problem. They said that the lien was $59,000 that was sold, but all the court records say that the lien was purchased by the Mellon Bank. I've got affidavits that says that the lien was purchased by the Mellon Bank for $36,000. That same lien was purchased by the Mellon Bank for $36,000. So therein lies the discrepancy. I want to show you one other thing as well, and that is from the so-called M-tag, or Mellon Bank tag lien payoff quote. Mr. Engineer, now the original water and sewer charge lien was sold. It's in every court record going back from 2002 to 2022, was $36,000. Yet this Department of Finance is now saying it was $59,000. When the Mellon Bank purchased it, it was $36,000. If you will look at the left-hand column where it says property information, and then you go down to where it says lien amount sold breakdown, it says a lien on the property for $55.54. And it says the Department of Environmental Protection water charge was $36,000 rather, $662.36. And that's what the Department of Environmental Protection say they sold the lien for. That's what the affidavit in the court records that we have been fighting for 20 years say that was the amount of the lien that was sold. They published it here themselves. But then look at what it says right under the Department of Environmental Protection. It says the Department of Finance also says water sold a lien for $54,177.46. Now, what they are assessing or saying here is that there were two liens, water and sewer charge liens, sold against us. We only have one footprint in for our church, and we only have one water meter. But they said there were two water meters and that there were two liens. One was sold for $36,000 that we knew about, that was purchased by the Mellon Bank. But then they said the Department of Finance, which also collects water and sewer charges, which is a lie from the pit of hell, sold a lien for $54,177.46. Now, it also says other and surcharge, and we'll deal with that a little bit later on. But here's what I'll show you where the fraud that has been perpetrated by the Mellon Bank, by the city of New York, what they have done, and they have probably done this to a lot of people who didn't have the resources or the tenacity or the support that we have had to fight this for 20 years. If you look at where it says interest breakdown, this is going to kill you. This one is going to knock you flat. This is what they're trying to collect from us. Remember, we've always said that the lien that was sold to the Mellon Bank was only $36,000. They're saying it was sold to MTAG. It was not. It was sold to Mellon Bank. There are court affidavits. Our lawyer, the lawyer for Mellon Bank, have sworn and affidavits that it was sold to the Mellon Bank for $36,000. We have that on record. We have 20 years of that record. But watch this. This is going to kill you. This is going to kill you to see what they're doing. Look at this. It says interest breakdown. The property interest, it was $15,000. That's negligible. We're not going to look at that right now or what that is composed of because we don't pay property taxes. We're completely tax exempt. We do not pay property taxes. So where they get the $15,000 is anybody's guess. But if you look right underneath property interest, it says Department of Environmental Protection water interest. Now on the $36,000, going back to column number 2, $36,662.36. The interest over the past 20 years has accumulated to $815,339.56 over the past 20 years. On $36,000, the interest has accumulated to $815,339.56. But look at what it says right underneath that at the Department of Water interest. You'll notice back in column number 2, it says Department of Water, $54,000. The lien was $54,177.46. But notice they put no interest aligned with that. And I'm going to explain, but I can't reveal to you why they put no interest to it right now. I'm going to explain that, but I have to keep this for legal purposes, but this is a bombshell. This is a bombshell that they have been hiding for years. But if you look at, it says now other interests. This is going to kill you. They said other than the interest on the $36,000, which was $815,000 for the past 20 years, that's the interest that has accrued. But then they say just other interest. They just pull a number out of the air and said other interest was $1,306,944.59. Other interest from what? If the water and sewer charge interest was only $815,000, where does this other interest come from? It comes from fraud. That's where it comes from. It comes from the fact that they do this, they cook the books, they take you to court, they pay the judges, they pay off your lawyers. By the way, Elder LaFleur, I don't know if the company, the 98 Trust Company and the Mellon Bank is going to have any money left. They done paid off every lawyer we hired. They paid them. I don't know if they're going to make a profit off of this thing because they done paid off all our lawyers. Other interest, they don't explain why the interest, where it came from, whether it was based on this, or they don't give any explanation. They just write it down, and then they file this with the federal bankruptcy court, which, if can be proven, and I will prove that this is outright fraud. $1,306,000 and $944 of fraud, because you make a claim to the federal court. If you claim in the federal court that this money is owed, and it isn't, and they give no explanation, they just say other interest, you can't do that. You can't just pull a number out of the air and assign it to no, if you will, no principle. You got to tell us what a principle is, the same way you did with the $36,000. Are y'all listening to me? This is what they have been fighting, and this is why they've been fighting so tenaciously, because they were they to sell the church at auction, they may have been legitimately, I suppose, entitled to the $36,000 and maybe another $200,000-$300,000 in interest at 7 and 9%. But because they are thieves and liars, and they're all in it together, they all split the pot, the judges, the lawyers, they all split the pot together. They just threw in $1.3 million and never tell you where it came from. And this is an official document that has been filed with the federal court. Now, here's the dilemma. The dilemma is this, is that our lawyer refused to argue this in court. He refused to do it. And for months I pleaded with him to do it. He refused to do it. So we dismissed him. We fired him recently. We've hired another lawyer. We were in court today. But we're at the point now where, and there's a process in the federal bankruptcy court called the 2004 exam, where if someone claims that you owe them money and they file a claim against you in federal court, you can actually call them down, sit them down and say, show me the receipts. Show me what I bought, show me the date I bought it, and show me what the title. You can do that. Our lawyer would not do it. He did not do it. I asked the lawyer the other day, why is it that he has allowed me to run into all of these not crooked lawyers, these skinflint thieves called lawyers? And the answer is, they're all like that. They all make money. They all make money off of the client and off of the people that are fighting you. So here's what I want to say to you. Oh yes, and by the way, one other thing. So I did have our lawyer did make the effort, and he filed a 2004 claim, and the City of New York Law Department had to respond. And a lawyer by the name of Hugh H. Scholl, well, he responded and gave a whole lot of legal talk stating that, well, during that time the city billed water and sewer charges two ways. They did it in the Department of Environmental Protection, which is DEP, and they also did it in the Department of Finance, which is DOF, which you saw in the chart I presented earlier. That's a lie from the pit of hell. It's a lie. It's fraud. It's what it is. So here's what's going on. First of all, it would be a windfall profit. The Mellon Bank would buy this church, send somebody up here to buy it at $3.1 million, and then hold it for a year and then sell it for $10 million or $20 million. They've been doing it for years. Here's what I want to do. I'm glad you listened to me. I'm not asking you for any money, but here's what I'm going to do. I told Elder LaFleur today, I want victory. I want victory. And the truth of the matter is, if Dr. Jones was still here as our attorney, this would all be over with, because he would not be a sellout. So, but I want victory. I don't want a mortgage. I want victory. And it's going to take us up to the edge. We might go right up to the edge of the cliff. We might go right there. But we got to get victory. Here are my plans. I plan to take this matter, put these documents, and I plan to put together a 60-second commercial made for television. And I'm go and stand in front of the Mellon Bank, and I'm going to make a 60-second commercial for television. I think potentially we could put it on some of the cable networks, might even put it on Fox News. Maybe we can ask to have it run, the 60-second commercial run twice during the hour that Tucker Carlson is doing his thing, or Hannity and Combs, Hannity and Combs years ago, that when Hannity, we can run it twice. And for an entire week, we could run 10 commercials. Cost us right about $75,000 to get that 10 one-minute commercials running. I believe we can get that kind of a response, if you will, production put together, and we can afford that. The other thing is that we're going to go to the Wall Street Journal. Now, we went to the New York Times, we went there, but that's a liberal newspaper. We want to go now to Wall Street Journal, which is a conservative newspaper, and we'll take out a full-page ad there. And then we want to go to the New York Post. We run all three of these at a specific time. It's going to run us about $175,000 to be able to do this. But if you can see here, it is well worth it. We have got to expose what the city of New York is doing. And I do that 60-second commercial. I'm going to hire some professional people to tell me how to condense the message, how to make it flow, how the graphics and art that all goes with it. I'm going to hire some professionals. I'm not going to do this on my own. So that's 60. When people watch that for 60 seconds on Tucker Carlson or Hannity, they're going to be so angry and upset at what the city of New York, because I got the documents here. They can't run away. I got the documents here. The problem is we have not been able to get a lawyer that will help us take this matter to court. Every lawyer, listen, there's tied up in the $3 million. Every lawyer we've hired has probably been paid off $100,000, $200,000 to let us go under the bridge. But I'm going to take it to the public. I'm going to take it to the street. We're going to run this all at the same time, consecutively, on cable television, the Wall Street Journal, and the New York Post, Facebook, and YouTube. And we're going to put the information everywhere. It's going to cost us $175,000 to $200,000 for 1 week. And I believe that we're going to be able to get justice. Now, one other thing I will say to you, that I could very easily walk away, cut a deal. I could cut a deal. But let me say this to you. I have been fighting this, as you can very well see, from 2002. That means we've been fighting for 21 years, and they have not been able to take me down. I believe this, and you can argue theologically, spiritually, any way you want. I believe that God has called this battle. I do. I believe that God has called this battle and called me and you and I to fight it. I believe that. I believe that. If we can prove that the Mellon Bank, and we got the documents, they can't change it. It's signed by their lawyers. It's signed by their lawyers. We got the documents. They can't change it. What we need to do is get it before a judge. What judge, what court can we get it before that's not bought off? That's the question. Not the funding, not the money. What court, what judge can we get it before that isn't bought off and who just won't dismiss the case? But I want to say this to you. I believe that God has called me for this battle. And we prove that Mellon Bank is involved in fraud. We prove that the Mellon Bank is involved. They're going to be all over them like white on rice, and they can come tumbling down. We can prove that the city of New York have contradicted themselves, and they've signed contradictory letters. We can prove that the Mellon Bank Holding Company has charged $1.3 million of interest, but they don't tell you what's the principle behind that interest. Where does that interest come from? Just out of thin air? $1,300,000? We got a battle here. They've known about this for years, and they know that I'm a fighter. Now, I told you I wasn't going to ask you for any money, but I do need you to help me get this word out. I need you to help me pray. I do. I need you to pray with me. There are a lot of people who know this. People in City Hall, people in Mellon Bank, they all know this. They've seen the records. They know it. And there are people personally that are praying that I fail, because if we can get in court, we can get inside of a court and prove this and demonstrate this, walls are going to come tumbling down. That's right. Institutions going to come tumbling down, and outlaws are going to rise. Will you pray with me? Will you help me? And of course, if you want to contribute to the ministry, you know doggone well we would greatly appreciate that. We don't have $200,000 right there in our hand. You know that. But I know the people give. I know the people of ATLAH give. By the way, listen, there's a man that sent me a letter today. He said there's a company, and I'm going to call this company's name with the greatest respect. I'm not speaking ill against them. The company's name is AAA Testor Company. And it owes a member of our church, $5,000 and has owed this member of our church $5,000 for 7 months. I'm going to ask this AA Tester Company to pay our member, give him that $5,000 because he said if he get it, he's going to give it to the church. Now, really, what I would do with that $5,000, quite frankly, is feed the children here in Harlem. We're going to ask God to help us to get on the Tucker Carlson show, to get on the Wall Street Journal, and to get in the New York Post and then spread out all over Facebook and YouTube with ads on them. Will you pray with me? Can you believe this? Can you believe this? I got the document. I got these are letters from the lawyers. I'll post them up. I'm going to post them up on Facebook so you can read them independently. But we just have to stay strong. And I want to ask the members of our church to stay strong. It may get ugly because they don't listen. They know how to fight. Don't you think that these lawyers and these banksters and gangsters don't know how to fight? They know every trick in the book. They know every judge in the city they can buy. They know that. They know that. They know how to fight. It's not like I'm fighting somebody who got no defense. They know what they're doing. But greater is he that's in me and us than he that's in the world. And I got to have a victory. We got to have, this needs to stop. If the Mellon Bank gets investigated for fraud, the city of New York gets investigated for fraud, well, it'll be justice finally have come. And we're going to keep on believing God. The Mellon Bank to Judge Bluth and to Judge Francis A. Kahn III, we shall not be moved.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Sing it. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.
In the midst of war we fight on, standing on the word of God we stand strong.
We shall not be moved. We're not afraid and ain't backing down. There's a new sheriff here in this town. We shall not be moved. You can't try, but you won't succeed. The time is drawn closer when you will bleed. We shall not be moved. Forgot to have mercy on your poor soul. You'll find out soon you're not in control. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. You push me, you better be prepared, 'cause I'm not gonna run and no, I'm not scared. We shall not be moved.
We're gonna tear your kingdom straight down, and when we're done, you won't be around.
We shall not be moved.
You don't even know this battle is the Lord's. We stand on his word and we hold his sword.
We shall not be moved.
You better leave town and do it right now. You curse the Holy Lord that we won't all out.
We shall We shall not be moved. Singing, we shall not. We shall not be moved. We shall not. We shall not be moved. 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 We shall not be moved.
Dance it up now.
We shall not be moved.
Clap with us now.
We shall not be moved.
Sing with us now.
We shall not be moved.
Come on now.
We shall not be moved.
Come on now.
We shall not be moved. 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 We shall not be moved.
Pastor Manny now.
We shall not be moved.
Mother Manny now.
We shall not be moved.
All the elders now.
We shall not be moved.
All the mothers now.
We shall not be moved.
Come on, stop your feet.
We shall not be moved.
Come on, clap your hands.
We shall not be moved.
Sing it,
We shall not be moved.
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 We shall not be moved.